On the surface, this whole thing looks like it's just about cartoons, right? But I promise you, what we're about to unpack is something way bigger. It's a high-stakes national survival strategy. It's the story of a country making this incredible, almost unbelievable gamble on its own soul.
So, it all kicks off with this one number, 20 trillion yen. Now that's about 130 billion US dollars. And get this isn't some wild guess from an analyst. Nope. This is the official, stamped and approved target the Japanese government has set for its content industry. We're talking anime, manga, games, the whole shebang by the year 2033. To put that into perspective for you, they're aiming to quadruple the industry size overseas in less than a decade. It is an absolutely mind-boggling number.
And here's the really crazy part. This shift, it's already happening. As of last year, Japan's exports of stories were already worth more than its legendary steel industry. Yeah, more than semiconductors too. Think about that for a second. The whole idea of Japan Inc. being all about cars and steel, that's over. The data is clear. Right now, Japan's biggest export isn't something you can touch. It's imagination. But, and this is a huge but, if you're on the inside here in Japan, this doesn't feel like a victory lap at all.
Yeah, that's the part they don't exactly put in the official press releases, This massive, ambitious plan wasn't born out of confidence. It was born from a really deep crisis. It's more like a quiet, hidden panic that's been happening just behind the scenes. So, that brings up the big question, right? Why? Why would Japan, a country famous for being so cautious and methodical, make such a radical bet on something as unpredictable as pop culture? Well, the answer is all in how Japan has officially decided to define this industry now. And this right here, this is the absolute key to understanding everything. The government has officially reclassified anime and manga as a basic industry. That means it's now in the same category as car manufacturing and shipbuilding. They're no longer treating it as just art or culture. They're treating it as a core pillar of the national economy, an engine that has to replace the old ones that are starting to fail.
And the reason for this drastic move is frankly simple and unavoidable. Japan is running out of Japanese people. With our population shrinking every year, the domestic market for everything is in a permanent state of decline. Every year, fewer customers. The only way for the economy to survive, let alone grow, is to sell its stuff to the rest of the world. It's just simple math. But, competing on the world stage, that's no cakewalk. Right now, Japan is a strong number 3, but it's trailing way behind the US and China. So that 20 trillion yen goal, it isn't just about growth. It's about fighting tooth and nail just to stay relevant in this brutal global race. It's a huge, almost impossible mountain to climb. But honestly, the real crisis, it isn't out there. It's right here, inside the studios themselves.
And this is where we get to the really uncomfortable part. The part that I think a lot of people outside Japan who love anime just don't get to see. This whole global boom that we're all enjoying, it's been built on a foundation that is, frankly, cracking apart at the seams. There's a phrase we use here in Japan, jounetsu sakishu. It literally means passion exploitation. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this system of using a creator's pure love for their work as an excuse to underpay them and overwork them. It all runs on this cultural expectation of gammon, to endure hardship quietly. The entire industry is powered by the goodwill of people willing to sacrifice their well-being for their art. But that goodwill, it's just about run out. And here's why. Just look at where the money from a hit anime actually goes. The vast majority of it goes to merchandise, to licensing, to distribution platforms. But the actual animation studios, the people physically drawing every single frame, they get this tiny, tiny little sliver of the pie. A lot of the time, it's less than 10%. The money simply is not flowing back to the people creating the magic. And this is the real human cost. Around half of the young animators just entering the industry make less than $16,000 a year. It's just an impossible wage for the amount of intense labor required. We are losing a whole generation of incredible talent because they literally cannot afford to follow their passion. So the crucial takeaway here is this. This isn't just a moral problem. It is an existential threat. You simply cannot build a $130 billion global industry on the backs of a workforce that is burning out and just giving up. The dream factory is breaking down from the inside.
And that is why the government is stepping in with a plan so radical, it's basically a complete overhaul of the entire system. This is Japan's grand gamble to rebuild its most important factory. Okay, so their plan basically has 4 big parts. Number 1, fix the pay problem. Number 2, use technology to beat piracy. 3, totally change how projects are funded. And 4, find new fans in new places. So let's break down how they plan to pull this off, starting with the most critical piece, fair pay. The government is getting its hands dirty. They're setting up a new council to monitor contracts and stop all these predatory deals. Public funding from now on is going to be tied to better pay and working conditions. So no fair pay, no government money. Simple. They're even proposing a special label, kind of like a fair trade certification for anime, so fans can support the studios that are actually treating their creators right. Next, they're tackling piracy by removing the very reason it exists in the first place, the wait. For years, overseas fans had to wait months for official releases. The new strategy is to pour money into AI-powered translation and dubbing to achieve the ultimate goal, simultaneous global releases, getting every show, subbed and dubbed, to every fan in the world on the exact same day it airs in Japan. If the official version is faster and better than the illegal one, piracy just dies off. They're also blowing up the old way of funding shows. For decades, anime has been funded by a production committee system. It was safe. Lots of companies would chip in a little bit, which kept budgets small but low risk. The huge problem, though, is that it meant studios almost never owned the rights to their own creations. The new plan is to kick the doors wide open to massive global investment. This allows for Hollywood-scale budgets and, crucially, gives studios a chance to actually own their IP and get a real slice of the profits. And finally, they're looking at a brand new map. The top priority isn't just America or Europe anymore, it's Southeast Asia. And the strategy isn't just to sell them anime. It's to co-create with local talent, building deeper partnerships. This diversifies Japan's audience, it reduces reliance on politically tricky markets, and it builds a much stronger, more resilient global fan base for the long haul. So, the plan is ambitious, it's logical, it addresses all the key problems. But it also leads to a very deep and a very difficult question about what this all really truly means. Because when you strip everything else away, this is the core of the strategy. It's a national project to industrialize creativity, to take something born from passion and turn it into a reliable, predictable economic engine, just like building cars. And this is the thought I really want to leave you with. This massive government intervention, it might be the only thing that can save the anime industry from itself. It could create a sustainable future for creators and cement Japan's place in the world. But what happens when art becomes a basic industry, when creativity is measured on a balance sheet and stories are judged by their export value? Does this plan save the soul of Japanese creativity, or does it sell it for 20 trillion yen?